that people will go, in my experience, where they're given safety and where they're given a chance to make a new life for themselves. And it was very striking to me, talking to the refugees I met last weekend. Yes, they do say Germany. Yes, they do say Sweden. Very few, interestingly enough, say the UK. But they all say, I want to go somewhere where I can rebuild my life. It's evident that if people are resettled, that their funding will be associated with their resettlement in the country that they go in. Their working conditions and housing and other support will be based on that.
And you're thinking a permanent new life in the country to which they are assigned, not a temporary life for them to return to Syria when, God help us, the war actually comes to an end and a new settlement's found there.
Well, a refugee status is not the same as a citizenship status. And refugees are there with rights and for them and responsibilities for states. Many of the people, despite the horrors of what they've been through, they do say, I'd love one day to go back to Syria. So it's neither the case legally nor factually that a refugee is bound to stay. Obviously, the longer a refugee is in a new country, the more likely it is that they'll put down roots and the more likely it is that they will stay.
Well, look, you've been critical of countries in Europe, Hungary most notably, who've been playing hardball and who think the solution to this is to build sharper razor wire and higher fences. And you've said that is not a good approach. And that's clear. You understand the argument there. What should Europe do if the numbers grow immeasurably? What should Europe do if the numbers grow by, say, twice, 3 times, 10 times the current numbers? There clearly are lots of people in the world living in places that are miserable. How should Europe approach that? Should it allow itself then to become hardball? Or should Europe just accommodate any number who attempt to make that journey?
I don't think this is about hardball or softball. It's about clever ball. It's about whether or not the approach you're taking is a genuinely strategic response to the crisis. And the strategic response has to act on the symptoms and on the causes. The reason I say that the Hungarian approach is so misguided and short-sighted is that the bigger the fence is, the more you empower the criminal gangs to get round them. And that's exactly what's been happening. And it's a matter of, and clever ball means attacking the roots of the problem and genuinely trying to make life bearable in the neighbouring states of a country like Syria that's consumed by a civil war. The message, I think, to Europe is to get serious about distributing the refugees inside its own continent. Secondly, to get serious about legal routes to refugee status that do sort out refugees from economic immigrants, but also undercut the criminal gangs. And thirdly, to make sure that there is sufficient humanitarian aid in the neighbouring states to staunch the flow, never mind the wider political question about how this war in Syria is brought to an end before it goes from 5 years to 10 years to 15 years.
And fifthly, the thing you didn't say in your plan, be much tougher with the economic immigrants and put them on 747s and send them home, rather than accommodate them here if Europeans don't feel they can cope with all the refugees and all the migrants who want to come.
You're absolutely right to say that economic immigrants do not have the right to come to Europe. They have a right to apply, and Europe has a right to say no. And that's why nearly 100,000 were sent back last year, and that's got to be part of any sensible system.
David Miliband, thanks very much indeed. Thanks.